Hiya, hello, and welcome back to another One Piece manga chapter review. Today we have chapter 1161, titled A Love Ballad in a Hail of Arrows. Starting things off, we have a nice color spread here. Let's see, it looks like Luffy and Nami. Ooh, it's a really nice color spread. All of the Straw Hats are featured in it, so in the background we have Usopp and Robin rescuing Chopper from inside of a giant gotcha machine. The whole theme of the color spread is the Straw Hats with various side characters as little toys, little dolls. So we have Nami, she's holding dolls of everyone from her home village. We've got Genzo, we've got Belmare, we've got Nojiko. Is that a Vivi she's holding as well? Yeah, I think she's holding a Vivi doll. Jinbei is asleep in the background just behind Nami. Also in the background behind Nami and Luffy, who are in the foreground, we have Robin and Usopp rescuing Chopper from a gotcha machine, which is also full of little dollies. We've got dolls of Dr. Hiraluk, Tom, Kureha. It's like Clover's in there. And Brook is mimicking the claw in the gotcha machine, trying to reach for Chopper. That's really cool. Let's see who Luffy's holding. Okay. Luffy has Sabo, Shanks, Ace, Makino, Dadan, Garp, Rayleigh, Whitebeard. He's also holding a Gaimon plushie in his teeth. His arm is stretching out to reach for Chopper, a Chopper doll. Yeah, it looks like in the foreground, Luffy and Nami are both stretching, pulling on a Chopper doll. They think it's the real Chopper, I guess. And the actual Chopper is inside the claw machine in the background with Usopp and Robin trying to get him out, and Brook. Sanji's carrying a bunch of people too. Let's see. Sanji has Pudding. And who is that? Is that Perona? Looks like it could be Perona. He has Lilith. There's Kami. There's Viola from Dressrosa. Kunis from Skypiea. Is that Hyordi? So a bunch of the ladies from the story. Also, we have Momonosuke and Kinemon, Child Momonosuke and Kinemon around Luffy. Also Yamato. Dolls. We've got a Boa Hancock doll falling from Luffy. A Carrot doll. We've got some giant dolls hanging out in the background. There's Rogi. Where's no Dory? There's a Buggy doll falling in the background as well. Zoro is leaning on the Shirahoshi doll. And he has a disgruntled expression on his face. Because Sanji, I guess Sanji's yelling at him. There's a Mihawk doll on the ground next to Zoro. Frankie is counting money to put into the gotcha machine to pull Chopper out. This is a really great color spread, and it's very creative and inspired. Oh, I didn't even notice it. There's Dory. So Jinbei is sleeping, leaning on a Dory doll and a saw. The giant saw doll. So this is a really great color spread. Oda's definitely in his bag with this one. And it's cool that it's lots of background characters as dolls, so you can kind of look deeply at the art and pick up all the little details, all the little characters in the background. Really great. Notes from Oda. I always thought horse meat was only good at sashimi, but recently I went into a joint where they did grilled horse instead, and it was delicious. Well, he's definitely Japanese. Not sure I would be all that thrilled about eating horse meat, but then I've always been a picky eater, so there's that. Horse meat probably doesn't taste too bad, it's just the idea that it is a horse. Okay, into the chapter. What's this? Onichild Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 43, The Resting Place of Heroes. So inside of the shrine, we have the names of fallen heroes during the fight with Kaido, I'm assuming. All the names are written in kanji, but you can probably guess a majority of the names. Names like Izo and Ashura Doji will be there, obviously. And it's Yamato, Momonosuke, and Kinemon at the shrine praying, at the altar praying. And there's two Buddha statues sitting on either side, which makes sense because Buddha exists in the One Piece universe as Sengoku's fruit is the Buddha fruit. So it's interesting to see the Buddha references there. Okay. God Valley, what happens when legends meet? The island became an inescapable flashpoint where motive and fate erupted into a battlefield of nightmares. Head for the evacuation route. But there was a prize I really wanted. We'll take responsibility and get it for you. Responsibility? You'll be taking responsibility for all of this, you idiot. So we have some Navy officers trying to evacuate Celestial Dragons, and Celestial Dragons being Celestial Dragons, and yelling at the naval officers for interrupting their hunt for the prize. We might have a chance. Let's use this chaos and hop on a boat and slip away. So we've got some of the targets. The targets from God Valley citizens looking at the explosions and chaos and wondering if they can escape. You got Roger. Where's Shaky? Is she alright? Eris, Teach, where are you? Huff huff. You got Rocks looking for... So we got a confirmation. Blackbeard's mom and Rox's wife was named Eris. Assuming that's who he's calling for. So we've got Eris, Teach, where are you? So Teach, Eris, and Rox. Where did Roger go? So we've got Garp also. We've got Dragon carrying the twins, Shanks and Shamrock. Just hanging there a bit longer. Where are the Navy ships? More pirates. It's not this way. Yeah, I see him. A Marine with a little bundle in his arms. So we've got that God's Knight, the one with the glasses and the sharp teeth and the dual tone hair, half black, half white. Lady kind of looks like almost like a fishman, possibly a fishman, maybe half fishman. Sort of like Jack, having the serrated teeth, but being mostly human looking, and having the horns, of course, the giant horns, which also indicates she could be part ancient giant rather than part fishman. So it's a toss up whether she's part fishman or part ancient giant. She's also pretty big, a pretty big character, so ancient giant would be a better guess at this point. But you can't rule out fishman until you get confirmation either way. But either way, this character spots Dragon running with the children and fires a beam out of her mouth. Yeah, I see a marine with a little bundle in his arms. She fires a beam, it pierces through Dragon's right shoulder as he's running. Whoa! Got him! You're a lifesaver, Matthew. Matthew. Maffei. Maffey. Maffei. You're a lifesaver, Maffei. Garling would have killed me. Huff, huff. Wah! So Dragon falls over and drops one of the twins. Maffei. She's also wearing a feather boa. So this is probably indicating how Shanks and Shamrock ended up separated. Why Dragon was only able to save one of the children and the other one went back to Garling. Maffei picks up the child, which I'm assuming this is Shamrock. We got a nice full unobstructed shot of Maffei. She's carrying a cigar. She's massive. Those black sunglasses, horns on her head. Also, the top of her hair kind of looks like a volcano or a mountaintop. God's Knight, the Satchels family, Saint Maffei. She's also wearing a skirt with a flower pattern on it. Wow, who would have thought a prick like Garling could have a kid? That's almost as strange as our intriguing little kidnapper. And we've got Dragon on the ground, groaning and reaching out for the child. Ugh. Wait, those babies, they're my only chance to atone for helping set up this twisted murder game. Dragon is thinking as he's reaching out. It was nice knowing you, young man. And Maffei raises her blade, about to stab through Dragon and kill him, while Garling or Shamrock is still crying. I guess that's that. Considering all the dead, this is probably what I deserve. Thinking Dragon. Out of the way! Giant slicing attack comes through, slicing everything in its path. It cleaves Maffei in half. Trees, rocks. Just a massive slash cutting through everything. Maffei is completely caught off guard and shot, cut in half. For the last time, I was aiming at the enemy, not you, says Whitebeard. How many other pirate crews landed here anyway? Liar! I could have died, says Big Mom, yelling at Whitebeard and grabbing his cloak. You wanna fight right? You wanna go right now or something? Whoa, those pirates, they're so huge. So Dragon is on the ground, starting to sit up, and he notices Big Mom and Whitebeard walking by, arguing. They're massive, so it was Whitebeard. So it was a swing of Whitebeard that sliced Maffei in half and rescued Dragon. By accident, of course. I don't think they noticed Dragon was there. They just saw a God's Knight, an enemy, and Whitebeard made his move and swung for it. I'm wondering if Maffei got killed because we don't see Maffei in the present time. We haven't seen Maffei in the present timeline, but she is a God's Knight, so she must have some kind of power. Didn't look like she had any grant of Eames power, but it's possible she did. We'll probably see in the next few panels if she survived. But yes, Dragon is just a small, regular-sized human noticing these two giant monsters walking by. The future Yonko, Big Mom, and Whitebeard. Damn you, Newgate. You trying to get me killed? Says Shiki. And now he's rushing at Newgate. Shiki's. This isn't what we agreed on, Lin Lin, says Kaido in the background, yelling at Lin Lin and Lin Lin's Kaido. So each of them have someone coming at them. Shiki coming at Whitebeard. Whitebeard looks over his shoulder at Shiki approaching. Kaido coming at Big Mom. Big Mom looks over her shoulder at Kaido approaching. The Rock's pirates. If we can take them down, we'll be famous. Huh? Hang on. These scrubs are after Shaki too, says Shiki. Get back to bed, you small fries. They've got this really awesome panel of Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, and Shiki all swinging their various attacks and taking out a whole swarm of pirates surrounding them. Let's see. Okay, the one thing that's kind of interesting that I'm noting, just seeing the background, looking at these random pirates that are getting attacked. Up front, this one that Shiki is slashing. This one, it looks like a captain. They're wearing a captain's coat. They seem to have light colored hair. And a braided mustache or beard. So my first thought is that Zeff? Was Zeff at God Valley? Zeff at God Valley as a pirate? I'm sure others probably noticed this, and there's probably been discussion about whether this is Zeff or not, and the face is covered by a sound effect, by the sound effect of the attack from the Rock's pirates. No doubt that's intentional, but it's a very specific design choice, and it pops out from all the other pirates that are just random pirates. You can't really place them as anyone special in particular, but this one right up front looks like Zeff. Face is obscured, so and that could be a gag, kind of continuing the theme with Sanji himself, his face always being obscured in his wanted posters for the longest time before the Whole Island arc. So this could be kind of a Oda doing a little bit of a nod to that, with Sanji's father figure having that issue of his face being obscured. So it isn't really known if that is Zeff here at God Valley, but it would make sense. I believe Zeff, let's see. Yeah, at Zeff's age, he would have sailed at the time of Roger and Rocks. He also would have been a pirate crew and a captain at the time. I'm trying to remember during Zeff's introduction. I think he said he fought with Roger at one point. Trying to remember if that was implied or if he actually said the line that he fought with Roger, but he definitely sailed the Grand Line because he had that chart of the Grand Line. This would indicate he went as far as the New World, and actually, well, God Valley is in the West Blue, isn't it? Yeah, I think the Island of God Valley is in the West Blue, so he didn't even have to be in the Grand Line to for this particular encounter, if this is him, but I think that just might be Zeff, showing us that Zeff was out and about around at the time of the God Valley incident. Didn't make much of an impact, but he was there. Okay, we've got Saint Maffei still alive and talking, so she hasn't been killed. What in the world is going on? What in the world is happening on this island? What? Maffei's still holding Shamrock. We've got Dragon still breathing heavily, holding his wound. I could probably slip away now, but I lost the babies. And we've got baby Shanks on the ground with a knot on his head and X'd out eyes. So Shanks hit his head. Shanks hitting his head as a baby and getting knocked out. They're showing this panel for a reason. So are we to take from this that Shanks has amnesia or had amnesia at a point? Would it be the case that Shanks doesn't remember that he has a brother? Or are we looking at just Shanks getting knocked out so he doesn't cry anymore? And it's harder for people to detect him, find him because he's not crying. Either way, we've got baby Shanks knocked out. And now we go to Roger, who's witnessing an explosion in the distance. Now this is a big catch. I found a prime fishing spot. Garp rears back a punch, is coating his fist in his hockey. Brace yourselves, you big old sea kings, and Garp comes swinging in with his fist, a big attack. And his attack is going to the center of where the Rocks pirates are standing. So they're running to get out of the way. It's Garp, run! A fight with him will drag on too long. We ain't gonna fight back at all, says Kaido. Can it? Zeus, Prometheus. Yes, mama. So they're all trying to get out of Garp's way because a fight with Garp would drag on for too long and keep them from attaining their goals. Dad? Says Dragon, shocked to see his father. Heavenly Fury Blitz. We've got Big Mom using Zeus and Prometheus to launch one of her attacks. Vice Admiral Garp, a massive attack. And Garp is blocking. I believe she's launched an attack aimed at Garp. Garp is blocking it. It's a really, really big attack. Common for Big Mom. Another big explosion in the background. And we've got Kuma and Ivankov noticing. What was that? No focus. Now is our chance, Kuma. Okay. And you've got a cool shot of Garp coming out of the explosion. He's silhouetted. He's got a crazy grin on his face. And he's smoking. This isn't even hot enough to cook a prime rib, Lin Lin. Damn. Hey, the kidnapper's probably dead. And I've secured the baby. That's good enough, right? So we've got Maffei talking to Transponder Snail again, and it looks like she's just fine. So she healed up from the attack from Whitebeard. She's still holding baby Shamrock. I'm forever in your debt. Now please get back here before Garling finds out. So Maffei gets Shamrock, one of the children. I think Maffei was mistaken. She was under the assumption that Garling only had one kid, so she brings back one kid. She doesn't realize that Garling had twins, so she thinks she's bringing back the only child Garling has. Then in the next panel, we have Dragon running away, carrying Shanks, again showing that he's got the huge knot on his head. I'm sorry, I may not be able to help your brother, but I swear to at least save you. You really thought you could get away in the chaos? Pirate or townsfolk, none of you will escape my watch. Yeah. And we've got that member of the Myanmar family with the hat, firing a gun, shooting into the backs of pirates and townsfolk, still focused on blasting away everyone and getting that prize. Reporting in. The Rocks pirates are coming in from the southeast. The Roger pirates from the northeast. We've been sandwiched. We've got a naval officer explaining it and a nice little map showing the location. The Rocks pirates coming in from the south. Roger pirates from the north. They're trying to evacuate the celestial dragons. They're in the middle of the actual peaks of God Valley, that split mountain. They're located in the middle. Give Shaky back! It's Roger! Fight to the last! We haven't gotten the treasure to safety yet. The Rocks crew are coming from the other side. I'm going to save her first. No, I will. Let go. Shaky, we're here to save you. We've got the Rocks pirates all moving in. We've got Silver Axe and Shiki fighting each other as they go along, pushing and shoving on each other. Gloriosa, that big armored guy with the beard, I haven't learned his name. Captain John. Interestingly, Captain John seems to have a cybernetic arm at this point, which is an entirely new development. When did Captain John lose his arm and get a cybernetic arm, or did he always have one? So Captain John has a cybernetic arm, and his zombie didn't have one, but we didn't see much of his zombie. But from what we did see, he seemed to only have one arm. The armor was carrying the booze bottle in. We'll have to go back to Thriller Bark and look at that. Also, it's Thriller Bark, so Moria could have just stitched an arm from another corpse onto Captain John and easily give him another arm, so it's not that big of a deal if Captain John had two human arms as a zombie in Thriller Bark, because everyone was stitched back together and stitched and sewn up from different parts anyway, so it wouldn't matter that much. Hurry up and stop them. You at least move Shakuyaku, right? St. Summers, about that. Huh? Ah, St. Summers? Don't tell me all of them were taken out by one little chained up lady. So we see that all the Marines that were in charge of guarding Shaki are all beaten up and knocked out, tossed to the ground. Shaki is still chained up. So Shaki beat up all of her guards. Sounds like the pirates out there are really going to town, says Shaki. How distasteful. There's nothing less cute than a woman who knows her worth. And St. Summers slapped Shaki in the face. Shaki is Knocked over for a little, she doesn't fall down. She immediately returns with a kick, slamming into Summers' shoulder. Ouch. Summers grabs her leg, raises his thorned club, about to hit her. Eek! And he does. He hits her with the thorned club. Chucky falls to the ground. Ah! You know, all these pirates are here to take you away. Their popularity is quite the pain. It's certainly made a mess of our tourney. Even if you survive this, Garland will ultimately claim you as his. No one else really gains anything, so I'm starting to wonder if it wouldn't just be more fun to kill you here and now. They've come all this way just to save you. It'd be unfortunate for them to survive. Hell, only to find a mangled corpse of their beloved here. I wonder what kind of faces they'll make. We get a shot of the Rocks pirates all fighting their way through. Then we get a shot of Whitebeard and Roger clashing at God Valley. Shaki, I've come to save you. The clash between Roger and Whitebeard, huge Conquerors hockey clash, is knocking out everyone around. Big explosion. Shaki, are you okay? I'm going to save you now. Now we have Shiki yelling that as he's trying to find Shaki. It'll be me. No, I'm the one. Damn, my hands are tied right now. I'll leave Shaky to you, says Roger. He's still clashing with Whitebeard. He's all tied up. Whoosh. And all of a sudden, someone leaps up. It's definitely Rayleigh, Silver's Rayleigh. And now we're back to Shaki and Summers. Can you hear that? They're right outside, but I'm afraid they're just a little too late. St. Summers, Garley won't forgive this kind of transgression, says a naval officer. Zip it. If you keep quiet, they'll just chalk it up to an accident. Look at her face. All hope snuffed out. See, this ain't a fairy tale. I just gut any hero who'd show up. Life's a bitch, ain't it? Yeah, ha 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 ha. I'll kill you in 5 slashes. Savor the pain. Your wishful thinking will drain out with your blood. I'll send you to the darkest shadows of the underworld. Transcendent Higan Crescent. Blah. So we've got Rayleigh, he shows up. With his sword reared, he says he'll send you to the darkest shadows of the underworld. And he's silhouetted out as he's doing this. Right behind St. Summers, he swings. Rayleigh's first named attack in the series, I believe. Transcendent Higan. Present. Translator's note, Furigana reads Red Spider Lily. Shaki. Shaki starts crying, seeing Rayleigh there. Ray-san, you're late. She jumps into his arms. Sorry for letting it come to this. Rayleigh's crying. I was so scared. Huff, huff. Sorry for the delay. I'm here for you. And so Rayleigh slices off the chains. He apologizes for the delay, and we get a flashback to when Shaki sent the note to Rayleigh that said, "Come and make me yours. I'm here for you." And Rayleigh reaches out his hands to help Shaki up. "I'll never, ever save it for later, you dog." We've got Roger and Gabon in the background crying. "Guys, we've got Shaki. Grab the treasure and run for it." Wow. Passionate Rescue. Chapter 1161 end. So, okay. That will be bringing a close to the God Valley incident, and things are falling out about as expected. There were no huge surprises from what we already knew. It's just getting the details of how things exactly fell down. One big thing is we get to see how Shanks and Shamrock ends up separated. We get the clue that Shanks may have amnesia or may have had amnesia for a portion of his life, which explains why Shanks seemed not to know that he had a brother among the Celestial Dragons and the God Knights. But, we still have that scene of Shanks before the Celestial Dragon, before the Five Elders, warning them. Assumably warning them about Blackbeard. Now, we have the whole Shamrock thing, but I'm still pretty sure that scene, that was Shanks speaking to the Gorosei. And if that's the case, at that point, would have to come after Shanks regained his memory, or maybe Shanks only lost memory of having a brother, but always knew that he was a Celestial Dragon. We'll have to wait and see exactly how this amnesia with Shanks worked, if he had amnesia at all. But showing Shanks hitting his head, having a huge knot on it, is a sign that amnesia is definitely in the realm of possibility for what happened. Could see God Valley. Dragons saw Garp at God Valley at least for a couple of moments. We actually didn't see too much of Rox in this chapter because he was running around looking for his family. So the next chapter is probably going to focus on Rox finding Eris and Teach and getting them to safety, or maybe just getting Teach to safety, because it seems Teach grew up alone, so it's not super likely that his mother survived this. Rox might he might find Eris already dead and find Teach and end up rescuing Teach at the cost of his own life. Then the question comes up, who killed him or how did he die? That's probably going to be something we see solved in the next few chapters. Got Summers. This is probably why in the present timeline, well, in the present timeline, Summers acted like he'd fought with Gibbon before, but it seems like he hasn't. He definitely got one-shotted by Rayleigh. Even though it wasn't a killing blow, it was a knock him out and hurt him kind of blow. Maybe just getting that attack from Rayleigh put fear in him so that he was afraid of Gibbon upon seeing him. Or maybe they've had future encounters. Maybe Gibbon has fought with Rayleigh, not Rayleigh, fought with Summers before at some other point in the future, before the present. But the Shaki portion of God Valley has been handled. Now we're at the other portion, and this probably ties closer to what we saw earlier on Egghead during Kuma's flashback. So how Kuma got the fruit has already been handled. How Ivankov got his fruit has already been handled. Or wait, was Ivankov's fruit there? I think it was. Kaido's fruit. Kaido's fruit, Kuma's fruit were prizes. They said they had like 7 or 10 prizes. I think Ivankov's fruit was there as well. Possibly, but we've already seen that, so they won't need to cover that. I think the next chapter is going to have a heavy focus on the Blackbeard side of things, showing rocks, because this chapter focused on the Roger side of things. Roger, Dragon's actions, and Garp's actions. And there was a lot of Whitebeard and the Rocks pirates, but no Rocks himself. So the next chapter will probably show us Rocks in action, because that's the last major component here. It's Rocks and what prizes the pirates actually end up taking. Because as of now, we know they got Kaido's fruit, gave it to Kaido. Did they get any other valuable fruits? The Roger Pirates took back Shaki and whatever treasures they wanted to get. Among the treasures that the Rogers ended up getting was the box that had Shanks in it. So we'll have to see how Shanks ended up stowed away in that box. So that's another thing we'll have to see. Maybe they'll show us Garling being reunited with Shamrock, possibly. And Garling probably being mad that only one of his sons was returned to him. Maybe they will assume that the other son is dead. That might be what happens, at least from Garling's end. But we're finally kind of moving towards the end of this flashback. Got some translated notes here. Okay, it's giving us the names of all the characters on the lanterns in the cover story. Kozuki Toki, Kozuki Odin, Shimotsuki Yasui, oh yes, Yasui, Uzuki Tempura, Ugetsu Omusubi, Shimotsuki Ushimaru, Taka, Izo, Pedro, okay, Pedro there, Kuro, Ashura Doji. The remaining lanterns are too hard to determine. The kanji reference is a small blade slash and evokes the idea of enlightenment as well as the Buddhist holiday Higan, which centers on transcendence and honoring ancestors. The reading sounds like Red Spider Lily. So that's a translator's note on Rayleigh's named attack. which kind of makes sense for Rayleigh thematically. So, okay. Really, really good chapter. Things are heating up and they're heating up and winding down at the same time. I don't know if I'd say we're at the climax of the arc yet, but it's possible we might be past it. That depends on whether there's a fight involved with rocks. If there's a fight involved with rocks, that's going to be being the ultimate climax of the arc. Because Rox's death results from that fight, if there was a fight. And who would be capable of that fight killing Rox? It would have to be action from Eam directly, or maybe combined forces. Maybe it does ultimately end up with Roger and Garp together, working together, combined fighting against Rox, but it doesn't seem like it's building up towards that, because at this point, Rox has no reason to fight. Garp is focused mostly on getting Roger. Roger has no reason to clash with Rox here. Now that he has Shaki, which is what he really came for, everything else is just gravy. Nothing, not important enough to really fight super hard for. So it seems like there would be no reason for them to end up fighting against each other, but you never know at this point. So that's going to do it for this review. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and I will catch you all in the next chapter review, since it looks like there's no break next week. It's going to be good. See ya then.